Go ahead, Deborah.
Are we on? We're set? So, welcome everybody. Here we are at the spookiest time of the week, and scariest thing going on this week is my freaking hair tonight. So, apologies to anyone that has bad dreams because of that. Anywho, here we
Hold on
are.
a second. We're going to take a screenshot. This is our next thumbnail.
Yeah.
Whenever
No
Deborah
doubt
says
it
she
will
hates
be.
her hair.
Yeah, every time that ends up being some sort of promo material for you. Thanks. Anyways, as you guys all know, we're Global Strangeness. Strangers brought together by the love of the paranormal. And this week we're doing true, real life paranormal experiences. We have various guests that are going to jump on and tell us their spooky stories. And before we have anybody get in here, I don't know if anybody's waiting right now, but do you guys have any new or unshared stuff you'd like to tell us about?
My wife says there's a demon that hides in my closet if I don't close the closet door.
A demon?
Well,
Jesus.
some scary figure thing.
Huh.
She closes it. I haven't seen it.
That's funny. A lot of people talk about like their closets being portals. Like I wonder what it is about closets, because you hear that a lot, right?
What was that movie with the kid from Wonder Years? And it had the guy, the comedian dude from Bobby's World, and he's on that like American Idol or whatever. You guys don't remember that movie?
No.
With the blue looking monster thing?
Yeah.
My Little Monster, I think.
I think it is Little Monsters, yeah.
I think. I'm not 100% sure.
They got in through the closet, right? And the bad guy was Boy.
Well, I mean, Monsters Inc. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Oh.
I think you're right. Little Monsters.
Okay, I was saying, like, Monsters Inc. is the same exact scenario, kind of.
Never heard of it. All I know is if there's anything in my closet, you be very careful because that's all my favorite possessions, my shoes, my bags, all my clothes. You best be watching yourself in there if you're in my closet because I will fight for that stuff.
You're going to beat the monsters up, huh?
Nobody messes with my designer bags.
Yes, sir.
No, but on a serious note, I don't know. Jeremy, you have stuff in your house you talk about sometimes, right? I have experiences all the time, but they're not like it's not scary. I don't.
Well, and you hear Gail's right behind you there, Deborah.
Yeah.
She likes when you pick on Scott. But funny enough, I don't remember if this was during our show last week. I don't think it was, but during some show in the last week, my electric heaters out in the garage, they keep me warm. All of a sudden, just one of them just unplugged, and I have no explanation as why that could have happened. Like nobody was walking near it. Like I was literally just sitting there, and all of a sudden it unplugged. And like
sounds like a demon.
Oh, it's not.
Not a demon, Scott. I mean, we all know my garage is plenty haunted, so who knows? I mean, it could have been a spirit just pulling it out, saying, "You're wasting electricity. It ain't that cold out."
He's like a green demon. It's like climate change, motherfucker.
It's Greta.
Yeah. Greta's great lost grandma.
So Scott, this week I found 2 more people that are on the Birds Aren't Real camp, and I found one more person that is on they don't fully believe in that conspiracy, but they wouldn't be surprised if there are a couple robot birds out there spying on people.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple, but it's fun, right? Like to just say stuff that,
to say stuff that makes people look at you like you need to be checked on. Yeah.
Like to go to like an Israel-Palestine protest and then come up with your own sign. Birds aren't real.
Because there's the real issue you want to address. That's the important stuff. Jesus.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Life is funny.
Well, Bullet keeps dropping in now. I'm waiting for him to come back in so we can get him up here, but
So
Does
Scott,
that-
as they come on, I'll let you introduce them because these are your guests that you've lined
Yeah.
up for us to delight us with their experiences.
Yes.
Absolutely. And let me see.
Oh, I mean, Deborah, what about you? You have spirits living with you too. Don't you be going at me saying I got spirits living with me. I know you got spirits in your
No,
house, Deborah.
well, there's spirits everywhere. That's the whole thing. But like, I have stuff happen. I've had a um, Roomba vacuum turn on that wasn't even. It's been dead forever. It's unplugged because my dog's scared of it. I never use it, and it makes this like doo 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 sound, and that I could hear that, and it's not even plugged in. It's been dead forever, and I've heard music start downstairs. I have stuff happen, but it's not scary to me because I kind of can feel who it is or whatever spirits. So
And that's when Deborah looks at her wine glass and just puts it down the table and is like, no more of that.
and it oddly happens when I'm just finishing up the bottle of whiskey. I don't know why. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the only spooky thing I have is like my beers disappear all the time. I don't know.
I blame your wife, Scott. I blame your wife.
Hers disappear too. It's just like we have this ghost that's coming in here and drinking them all down.
I think the thing though, like Jeremy, you're saying that like thing being unplugged. I think when you start to notice, then kind of more activity because it's almost like a light bulb goes on and they're like, oh, somebody is noticing. So you'll kind of, more and more stuff will happen. Not necessarily scary stuff, but they're just excited that somebody's, aware.
Are you freaking kidding me? You know how many mediums and psychics have discovered them on my show? And like they get all the attention in the world. Like my shows are half about them, for freak's sake sometimes.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because you can see stuff in behind people sometimes. We've had guests on here before, and I'm whatever. There was one that I definitely could feel kind of heavy energy around. I'm not going to call out anybody. And then there was another guest, and there was definitely a female energy, but it was a pleasant energy or whatever. But definitely a female was in the room with them, behind them. You can kind of pick up on that sometimes. Not always. I'm just new.
I don't know. I mean, and if anybody watching has their own personal ghost stories to come tell on, shoot Scott a message. He'll send you the link.
I'll shoot Jeremy a message too. So Don,
I don't need no lessons.
His internet's not going to let him get on. I am currently texting everyone else who's coming on. So we're mid-show. Let me know if it's possible.
Well, actually, all right. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. Let's go to my good friend Reddit.
There we go. Thinking outside of the box. I've got some videos of like the on the street shit too. I don't know if that like downloading and all of that crap. I don't know how long that would take, but I got like 30 different people's ghost stories. That's your call.
Yeah. Well, we could do all of it, man. We could do.
I can send you a couple right now if you do your Reddit. Right. I'll send you a couple.
Scott, who do you trust? Travel Channel, Today.com, or Country Living?
I like the Travel Channel, man. They always have I really like the boats, like the houseboats. Have you guys seen those shows? Where they do the houseboat tours of the rich people?
Oh, that's no? Isn't that called?
Man, that was my jam.
Isn't that called Boats and Hoes?
I don't think so. Not on the Travel Channel.
Oh, they should need that. That could have been the theme song with Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly singing it.
You should be in marketing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I don't like extravagant boat homes or some shit.
My idea is better. I'm just saying.
And the tiny homes. I think they had a tiny home show too.
All right. Actually, can I share? I don't know. I can't.
Shit, I don't have your email. I'll try to send it. I don't know if this file will go through. If it'll go through Messenger.
Hold on,
Okay,
Scott.
cool. Sweet. Jeremy's sending
Private-
me email. Look at this. We are making a show happen in real time. Look
And
Well,
at
we
that.
are some people
I
right
got-
now, I'm sure.
and I have our first scariest ghost story from Reddit. And so this one is titled "It Wasn't a Little Girl." This sounds like some left wing shit already. But I was camping with my husband and his small family at a small remote lake in New Mexico. There were about 10 people in our group, and another group of 6 people in the next campsite. It was nighttime, and both groups were doing typical activities, s'mores, having a few drinks, telling stories, so on and so on. When we all heard what sounded like a little girl yelling out for help. Neither group had children with them, but we were all positive we were hearing a little girl, and decided to search the area we heard the noises from together. There was a field behind our campsites, and we all saw a very tall, pure white figure standing maybe 100 feet away from us in the field, making the noises. We all agreed this thing looked like maybe 6 feet tall, skinny, and white as can be. We made our way closer to investigate, but whatever it was that we saw started backing off as we got closer and disappeared into the trees. All night we continued to hear a little girl calling for help as we tried to sleep. Well, they might have been camping, I don't know. Maybe it was an Epstein Island drop-off place. Who knows?
Jeez.
Here, I got an idea. Let's turn this into a learning show. I've got some questions for you, Jeremy. We can all ask each other questions here.
Oh, God, help us
Oh,
all, Scott.
God.
Okay, so
No, I don't want tarot card reading.
This is going to dwindle down into some terrible truth or dare show, I think.
hell yeah, that's where it should go. No, this is a serious question.
I feel bad for Deborah then, but yeah.
I'm getting closer and closer to monetization on YouTube for my thing. How do you use Twitter? You said you're like monetized on Twitter. How do you?
I have never said I am monetized on Twitter, buddy. I wish, but
I thought like right before you left, you said you were.
I on Facebook, my old profile was a public figure or whatever the hell they call it. So entertainer or performer, whatever the hell they call it. But so like if I got enough view of my reels on Facebook, I could have started getting money, but that's a huge bridge you have to cross, and not many people can get past that.
Facebook pays the best, but I've just never had any traction on Twitter. Like I had a Magic the Gathering site at one point in time, and I had to like work really hard to like constantly tweeting with people and shit. It's not like Facebook with groups. Like, do you know any hacks for that? For the Halloween episode?
I mean, Twitter isn't. I mean, we're streaming on Twitter right now, but Twitter isn't really a place for like short videos and stuff like that. Like there's not really like reels on Twitter. Twitter is more of just like a marketing tool to post your podcast out, basically. Or you can do videos, I guess. I mean, there are people who do brackets on there too, but I mean, it's just Twitter's more of a marketing, like opinion posting or media posting. I mean, I guess you can post short videos on Twitter. I've done it, but
yeah, I've done it too. It just doesn't. Like...
After a couple of days, you're going to tweet retweet so much other stuff and tweet stuff that it's just all going to get pushed down, and you're not going to get anywhere. Like, I don't know.
How often are you guys actually on social media? Because like I kind of
constantly.
What about you, Deborah?
Not that much, really. Well, I am, I guess. My thing is I don't enjoy posting, and I need to do a lot more because for my day life, my day job, I have to do it for that. For writing stuff, I have to do it. And I end up finding like it's a bunch of work, and I'm not like the writing stuff. I'd rather be writing than posting and pushing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find the social media stuff hard. Like I don't enjoy it.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I watch YouTube, but like I don't actually like I'm never on social media as like a fun thing. Oh, there's Michael.
He's on all
the time.
We told you we tried to hoist these duties onto you to promote us.
and Mike, you say you're on all the time, but I can't even find your profile that's in our group chat on Facebook. I've tried. It's like you're a ghost, man.
I don't know. I like oop, he's got a thumbs up there. At Haunted Peninsula on Facebook, if that's how that works.
I mean, and so, all right. Well, Scott, did you email that yet? Just out of curiosity.
Did I email you yet? I didn't know you sent me your email. Hold
It's
up.
in the private. It's in the private chat.
Private chat.
Is there
See
another
this?
Reddit story there, Jeremy? In the meantime, or
Oh, yes,
Our
there is.
private trap or chat
on
or
on StreamYard, there's a tab that says private chat.
oh Jesus Christ! Now you're doing fancy stuff.
Yeah, it's technology, Scott. You gotta be good at it. But okay,
Yeah, I
actually,
told you I
this.
wasn't. Okay, here I'm gonna send you just a bunch of
All right. Well, while you do that, let's do the
fucking
next red. Let's do the
things.
next red story. We're waiting for some guests to pop up. So this one's called The Walking Dead, and I guarantee you it's not gonna be anywhere near as good as the show. But I'm a psychiatric nurse, and early in my career, I worked at a residential mental health facility. One of our residents was an elective mute, which means that he couldn't talk, but there were no medical reasons as to why. He had spoken earlier in his life and in fact seemed quite normal back then, with the exception of being close to 7 feet tall. He was raised in the deep south and joined the military when he was 19, but one night he vanished. He was declared AWOL and eventually he was declared missing and dead. 10 years later, a 7 foot tall man walked into a VA hospital emergency room in part of the Midwest and said to the receptionist, "My name is so and so, and I've been dead for 10 years." Those were the last words he ever spoke. He was covered with dust and he was wearing the same clothes he'd been reported to be wearing the night he vanished. His social security number had not been used and he had no identification on his person. However, they were not able to identify him, I guess, via fingerprints. The family was notified, but they said they already grieved their lost man and that whoever was claiming to be him simply could not be. They demanded not to be contacted again. Marion paced all day, every day, moving his mouth that looked like talking or muttering, but no sound came out. He had an unnerving habit of throwing his head back with his mouth wide open as if he were laughing heartily, but not even a breath could be heard. If I talked to him, he appeared to listen, periodically throwing his head back in that laughter mimicking way of his. Various medications were tried, but they did not affect him either positively or negatively. Occupational therapy did nothing because he would just grin, and unless told to stay put, he'd get up and start pacing again. On the last day at that job, the last thing I saw was Marion pacing in the parking lot, throwing his head back to laugh. Later, I wondered if all along I'd been dealing with a ghost. All these years later, I still don't know.
who?
I don't know. I don't know what to think of that.
I mean, if it was a ghost and everyone was interacting with him, though.
Well, I mean, it's from her
Pretty
side.
self-effective.
What if this one nurse was the only person interacting with him, and everybody else just played along with her, like they knew she was talking about?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, people do crazier shit, so who knows? But I don't know. It's creepy.
I feel like jails and like institutions like that, they have a creepy factor to them to begin with, and they're often haunted, as we've learned from so many paranormal investigators. That's some of the biggest places you can go to. So I feel
But
like your imagination would be ready to believe anything in there too, right? Like it's just a creepy feeling.
I think the bigger question, I think Scott will agree with me on this, is where the hell was he for a decade? Like, if he was a prisoner of war or something, like the government would have known. Like, did he get abducted for 10 years or something? What do you think, Captain? What do you think, Malachi?
Sorry, I didn't hear the story. I was grabbing my hard drive. I'm sending you a funny one, and then I'm gonna look for the real one that everybody liked.
Well, Mike likes that story. He says it's creepy. Scott, you have to watch him replay.
I will, buddy. Okay, you guys can still see me and hear me, even though I'm way over
Yes,
here.
we can.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm making sure Scott's email didn't go to spam.
No, I it's still loading. It's right about sent. This is podcasting, folks. Error. I guess I can't send you that one. What the fuck?
Well, I spent some
probably-
time when I was doing some
Oh,
writing
hold up,
in
I
this
got it.
old institution, and it's been closed down. But it's like this big, creepy old building, and I was writing about an institution like that, so they let me come in. This kind of a museum now, and I was sitting in this room with all these artifacts, and there was lobotomy tools like right behind me. It was pretty creepy, actually.
Well, you know how you could tell if a ghost is Canadian? Scott, any
It
clue?
says
Bring it on.
A.
You may as well get it out of your system now. So,
I don't think this one's been said yet. Okay, finally I sent it.
All right. So the way you can tell a ghost is Canadian is if the top half of their head is just completely hanging to the side, and then when they go to talk, the top half of their head is like moving up and down a little bit.
South Park joke.
Yep,
yeah.
Okay, I sent it.
I got it.
Hey, who's picking the next topic so I don't fuck up another one?
The next top, we're doing a bracket next week, so
Yeah, isn't it?
I
Oh
got
yeah,
that.
it's Halloween.
Halloween. We have to be in costume.
I'm gonna be in costume, but you guys have to get some guests on because I think my guests are getting kind of tired of coming on all the time.
I've never seen any of your guests repeat. Come on, so who are you talking about?
Brandy, Cherry.
Yeah, they come on.
I think they love it. They love it though. I mean, Cherry especially.
What was the last guest you had on? I get like random people I barely even know on here all the time.
I'd like to get people I somewhat know, Scott.
Well, sometimes you can't find enough people.
I'll start asking ahead of time this time, and Mike's asking, Deborah, no creepy house stories?
Creepy house story. Well, I don't know. I gotta think. I mean, I have
Oh, there
lots
we
of
go.
ghost encounters, but
Mm.
I have creepy, like, as a realtor, creepy real life people being in their house and seeing things that are pretty freaking creepy.
Yeah, those people are scary too, right?
That's even worse, actually.
What's the scariest experience you've had being alone with somebody you're showing a house?
I had one experience where I had my assistant with me, and it was an unscheduled stop, and you couldn't see the car. Like, we were in a different town, this little town, and we were at a property inspection, and then somebody just asked if I could come do kind of an evaluation, come over, and it was a gorgeous, like, 3-story Victorian house, so I was really excited. And so nobody knew we were there. We just went there on a whim, and it was kind of dusk, and it's at the very edge of town. So when you pull in your car, nobody even sees a car there. And as soon as we got in the house, there was a gun across this chair. As we were walking in there was weapons all over the house. The guy was really strange. My assistant was so scared. She was taking my business cards and like tucking them everywhere. And we didn't want to stand close together because it really felt like you could get grabbed. Like, it was very scary, guys. Anyways, did the tour, got out of there. We had heard, I've heard since then that he does spend time in institutions, and there's bullet holes in the walls. He had shot at people. Like, it was a very dangerous situation. That was very scary. That was hands down very, very scary. It's like, oh my gosh.
Real life horror is always so much more scarier than
I'll take a ghost any day.
paranormal.
Any day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if I'd agree, dude.
You ready for your video, Scott?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, let's do it.
We did this interview last year. This is my son's favorite. He records for me.
All
It's
right.
his favorite fucking video.
Hold on. I gotta figure out why this isn't playing now.
It's on Jeremy now, folks.
I don't know. I don't know why yours isn't. They always usually play without. Oh, that. All right, I can do it this way. That works.
It works.
Metal sphere, right? In my attic.
Funny.
Metal sphere. It was glowing. I was like, first of all, I was running from police. right. And I jump up in the attic.
That's what I want.
And I lay there in all this freaking, I'm laying there in this pink stuff. Right. I'm laying there. And I look up, right? And I'm like, and I could hear him down there. And I'm like, 20 breath exercise. Right. Calm down. I seen this metal sphere. All right. No shit. Come up. And it just started spinning there. It was like almost holographic like. And it had this red beam all of a sudden. I was like, what the heck? I laid there. I was like, I breathed and I said, thunder and lightning, thunder and lightning, thunder and lightning. Next thing you know, it started storming, right? It started storming. I came outside after the cops left. Outside, and there was a big halo above the house, right? The big clouds, and it was thundering and it was storming. And I'll never forget that. Later on that evening, like 4 hours later, I was in the house alone, right? Let Dad cool off after calling the cops on me. And next, you know, I seen like this. It was like particles coming together, right? Holographic, like the Egyptian hieroglyphs. Like I seen, what is that freaking half lion, half dragon thing come in my living room, back and forth, back and forth. Next thing you know, my hairs on my arm started to raise, and I looked down and like heard this voice that says, "You will become the leader of the dark web if you hold your composure." I'm like, what the hell? All right, and I'm holding my composure, and like next thing you know, it looked like spiders crawling on my arms. Like, I gotta take a dump. I can be the leader. I left, right? I came back. I guess I'm not the leader of the dark web, but I did see a metal sphere.
So this dude, when I was out there doing the interviews, I was asking people what their like main use for the internet was, and he was like, the hub. Like this dude was fucking hilarious. I got another.
He sounds like he hangs out with the Mormons that do the illegal stuff, but yeah.
Well, if you eat at the Cheesecake Factory, that's who's cooking your foods. Oh, remember when you're paying those overpriced prices, you might get a little Fight Club in your food there.
Sure.
Sean said he was loading up about 5 minutes ago. Is he backstage?
Well, no one's backstage but us, buddy.
Okay, let me know when you're in, and I'll send you the lady who talks to ghosts videos.
Wait a minute. Sean is connecting right now.
Cool. I'm going to send you that video just in case our other guests flake or can't join.
We'll bet on that, but looks like Sean's having some trouble with his technology getting on from what I see. But all right, well, here we go. Mike says, here's his creepy house story. He went to look at a house that was for sale. He walked in, there was a guy sitting on the couch. Next to him was what looked like a person sitting upright but fully covered in a sheet except for his socks sticking out at floor level. I was stunned for a moment. I looked at the exposed socks, but they were not covering feet. The socks were obviously just stuffed. It was so weird.
That's just another day at the office for me.
I mean, okay, Deborah, how many times have you walked into houses that you're trying to sell and then caught like a teenage couple doing it or something?
I've never caught anyone act like in the act. I was at a property inspection one time, and it's really weird because it's a crawl space one. So like the furnace is sideways, like like you're crouched down and it's just dirty and whatever. So we're all in there. And then the property inspector just kind of makes a joke and he's like, and take a look over that. And there's like a pipe running along the top and there's handcuffs and some women's underwear down there. And I'm telling you, you couldn't even stand up straight in it. And it was like a dirty crawl space hole. Like no woman even rolled, like nobody's going there. We were like, what?
Homeless people.
Well, no, it was a lived-in house.
I've heard plenty of stories. I've heard plenty of stories on Let's Not Meet podcast of homeless people living in houses and for years before people find out about it. Like living in crawl spaces or like little side rooms.
Like, why is there handcuffs there? I don't know. It was.
Scott, I think Sean's having issues. He's backed out of the studio, so.
Tech is not your friend, folks. It's not our friend.
StreamYard. I can't figure out what the common core is because StreamYard doesn't work for people lately. I've had some issues lately with people trying to get on StreamYard, and it's like I don't get the disconnect. I never had an issue with it in my life. Hey, Nikki. Thank you for watching. But, all right. Well, we'll do another Reddit story. We're waiting for Scott's guest to show up, actually. My watch must be broken. But this one is called The Unrest Stop. I was driving across the country with my mom and sister when I was 16 and my sister was 20. It was late, but we were well rested still and alert. We were driving along an interstate and needed a gas and bathroom break, so we stopped at the only rest stop in 200 miles. There was a van full of teenagers on a road trip at the gas station, as well as a small gray car parked at the pump in front of us with two young men still standing outside of it. When we got there, everything felt wrong. We'd been on the road for days and seen many rest stops at night and had never been afraid until then. My mom and sister went inside, and I stayed in the car. I heard the teenagers say they were creeped out and couldn't get the pump to work, and they left in a hurry. I was watching the car in front of us, and the two men not moved at all, not an inch. They weren't talking, they weren't on phones, they were just standing there still as stone. My sister and mom came running back out to the car, and when they got in, the two men slowly turned to look at us while not moving or pivoting the rest of their bodies. And I swear to fucking shit, we all saw the same thing. They had eyes, dark as pitch and empty, truly empty, not black, not reflecting any light at all, just a void. We sped out of there and didn't stop until we were in the next city. The worst thing about the entire experience, we couldn't find the place on any map. We knew exactly which spot in the interstate to look, and we couldn't find it on Google Maps or any paper map we had. We even asked locals about the creepy gas station out in that stretch of road and only got only confused looks. We traveled on that interstate since, and there is no rest stop.
That's pretty creepy.
Ooh.
I feel like that's a time slip. You're slipping into another dimension for a few seconds, and that's just one of those things. Like, I've heard stories before like that where this guy turned down one street and all of a sudden he started seeing cars with like square wheels and stuff like that, and like a car that didn't even exist in our world, and then like he never saw it again. But it's a glitch in the matrix. That's what they call it. It's a glitch in the matrix. Like, everything changes for a minute, and it's creepy, and then it goes back.
But why
feel
do they
like
have black eyes? Is it like entities in another, or is it?
Well, maybe this is where black-eyed kids come from, Deborah.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what it sounds like to me. It was adults or whatever. But
I mean, if there's black-eyed kids, there's gonna be black-eyed adults somewhere. I mean, how do you think these black-eyed kids become?
Can you do StreamYard on a phone?
Yes, you can.
Okay, yeah, because Sean's saying he can't detect mic or anything either.
You have to go to settings on your computer and on StreamYard to make sure your audio settings are all the same.
Michael, he left you a baby bottle with a bullet inside? Ugh.
Okay, I sent
As a warning?
Yeah, that's pretty psychotic, Mike.
I don't know. I got a lot of ghost stories. The ones I wanted, it looks like I deleted all the pre-clipped videos. So I'm just gonna send you shit to fill it up with. If like
That sounds hard. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Is Sean on?
No, but I got your next video.
Oh. Reddit,
I love
videos, and Sean on. That's what we need. Knock on wood, everybody watching.
Yes, Mike says that neighbor was a creep. I didn't know you lived next to Scott, Mike. But
Jeez.
Okay, our next guest should be coming on. Sean should have been on 10 minutes ago. Let me find our next guest. Oop, that's text message. Gotta get the messenger. Okay, yeah, we got a guest coming. Let Sean and the other guest on. We'll just keep them on if they both work.
all right, we'll see. They're coming, but maybe. I don't know. I don't see anybody on yet. I'm waiting for your video to download so I can show it. Oh, there we go. Got it.
We should have two people coming on right now.
Well, neither are on yet, so let's show this video while we wait. And the name of this sounds promising.
Do you have your Ethernet
Like,
on?
I always will, like, wake up in the middle of the night, and there's, like a...
What'd you say, Scott?
Do you have, like, an Ethernet plugged in? Could it be your internet that's, like...
No, I got
Because we're on.
I got full bars of Wi-Fi, and I'm sitting literally 5 feet away from my router. So
Yeah, Deborah and I are both on. It's just fucking weird that
some people.
We'll see if the third people can't.
I mean, I think it's if you live in like really remote places.
Well, that's what the first dude said. But like Sean and Preston record every fucking Wheat.
I mean, but
brews and
Mike
stuff.
says too that StreamYard works fine. He never had an issue. His audio issues are the amount of background noise.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
fucking know.
Well, let's watch this video that I love the name of, Scott, and I want to hear what she has to say.
I think I've had a couple. Like I always will like wake up in the middle of the night, and there's like a black figure, like either in my doorway or like one time I like in the middle of my sleep I started like petting it because it was like on the side of my bed. But, like I wasn't scared, and I was like, oh, it just like I like felt calm, and I was like, it just like seemed nice. But I always hear like knocking on the door at our house and stuff, and I don't know. I think I have, even though I don't technically believe in it, but
Yeah, like I said, I'm just sending you random shit at this point, dude.
Well,
Okay, Emmett said he's coming in now.
Scott's getting very excited about men coming in, just saying. But
I'm gonna get you another random. I've only done like, I don't know, 5 ghost stories. Find a
all right, well, I got another ghost story while we do that.
Sweet. Look for
And it's
Emmett.
called, I'll keep an eye out for him, but he'll be able to hear us if he's in the background anyway until I. But this is called "It Came for Us in the Graveyard." We were driving my friend's really old beat-up Subaru through a massive graveyard. We stopped and walked down a hill and came across a low pond. There was someone sitting on a rock on the other side of the pond. The figure was all black, and we couldn't make out any features other than the fact that it looked like a man who was wearing some old-style top hat. We stupidly waved and shouted hi. He didn't show any acknowledgement and continued sitting still on the rock. All of a sudden, he jumped to his feet, started running to us on the water, and then vanished in thin water about halfway in the pond. My friends and I screamed and ran back to the car. The car wouldn't start, and we heard something banging on the back of the car. It wasn't a constant bang, but every few seconds or so we'd hear it. Nobody was outside from what we could see in the dark, but something was making a noise on the car. I opened my phone and started dialing my mom to come give us a boost, but I had no service. None of us had any cell service. The next 30 minutes were spent trying to get her car started. No banging was heard afterwards, but we felt this heavy pressure around us. Finally, the car started, and she hit the pedal to the metal. We sped out of the graveyard so fast, immediately crossing the gates, all of our phones regained cell service. One thing I know for certain is that someone or something was out there, and it was not an animal or human. That's kind of creepy.
It's pretty creepy, yep.
And Mike says about your last video, Scott, night terror, sleep paralysis, terrifying. Yeah. I mean, if you want to pet a shower demon. But
Yeah, I've done a couple videos on sleep paralysis.
hey, just making sure, Scott, you're sending out the StreamYard link to join, not the Facebook link to watch the video, right?
Yeah, no, I sent them all the.
Okay. Making sure. I
Let
mean,
me see what's going on with Sean. Is Emmett not in?
if he was in, he'd be on the screen right now.
Okay.
I haven't
I'm
seen anybody else pop
texting
up.
him. I'm gonna text Sean. You close?
Actually, here's a good ghost story. Trying to think of any ghost stories I could tell, really.
Have you ever had creepy experiences in a graveyard?
Creepy, no. Fun teenager experiences, yes.
Yeah.
I don't like going to graveyards.
Oh, Sean's here. And he got on this time without issue. Yay.
Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
Loud and clear, buddy.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so apparently on my Mac, I cannot access this website. I tried a couple different browsers, and everything's just coming up with it saying that it's not going to let me use my mic. For whatever reason, it just can't connect. So,
like StreamYard's like me. It says fuck Apple.
Fair enough. Well, modern problems require modern solutions, so I'm using my Xbox Live headset on my iPhone on my back porch.
Damn, dude, you fucking made it happen. Thank you. Everybody's had problems tonight.
It's wild, man. It's wild. Well, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Good. And our co-host from the other side of the Atlantic says, "Hey, Sean."
Oh, very cool, very cool. What's up, man? So yeah, you guys have a fourth host now, huh?
You're gonna meet him for Christmas.
Oh,
I'm gonna
nice.
shut your fucking shut your mushroom theory down, dude.
Oh, I can't wait.
Well, Scott, I'll let you. Oh, sure. Wait a minute. Did he drop off?
Yeah, you like jumped someone else in. Well, here
No,
we're gonna listen to Sean
Andrew.
tell us a ghost
Andrew.
story.
Andrew was here, but Sean tells a ghost story while I go smoke a ciggy.
I
Sure,
don't
sure.
know who Andrew is, dude.
Well, if
Okay.
you can get back in and share an experience, come back.
Evan
It was.
Emmett.
Oh,
Yeah,
his
if they
name
show
said-
up, just ask them if they have a ghost story.
That's it.
There
His
we
name
go.
his name said Andrew's Giant, so I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
Ah, this is
But-
a great show tonight.
Yes.
Okay, well, Sean, what do you have? Because I know you have a few good stories to share.
Yeah, so I know last time I was on with Preston, I talked about an alien encounter at my grandma's house. So I got two. If we have time, I'll share two, but let me just go with the short one first. So my mom and dad were in a car wreck, and spoiler alert, they survived. It's not about ghost parents. But as part of mom's therapy afterwards, her doctor said to get a hot tub. So from 5th grade up until after I got married, we had a hot tub in the backyard, and it was fantastic. And I would sit out in the hot tub, and you're supposed to stay in there for 20 minutes, no longer. And I'd stay out there for, hours on end because it's a hot tub. And I would be notoriously so comfortable that I would fall asleep, just kind of floating on my back, arms and legs just kind of out, drifting. And so my mom would periodically check on me and always, holler at me from the screen door, wake up, don't fall asleep out there. So one time specifically, when I was sitting out in the hot tub, I was kind of propped up on my elbows, floating on my stomach, trying to stay awake. And in front of me, about 6 feet in front of me, is the screen door. Now, to kind of preface the way our house was set up quickly, behind that screen door is a landing on a staircase. You can either go straight down the stairs to the basement, or you can go left and go into the laundry room. So I'm laying there in the hot tub, half asleep, and I kind of wake up and I look forward, and through the fog of the hot tub, I see a little boy, maybe 11, 13 years old, somewhere in there, staring at me through the other side of the screen door. And the screen door, I couldn't see anything from like their shoulders down because it was just, solid metal. But through the window, I could see this translucent little boy just staring at me. And I mean, I'm in 102-degree water and it's just ice cold in my veins. And I'm staring at it for minutes. And finally, I kind of think, okay, no, it's just my reflection. So I kind of move my head around a little bit and bob up and down. And this little boy is just staring at me. And he's just kind of moving his head, but he's not bobbing up and down with me. And so again, I'm just completely freaked out. I have no idea what's going on. So shortly after that, my mom kicks on the laundry room light, and I see her through another window walking towards the hot tub area. I see her turn, cut down the little hallway, and as soon as she cuts down the hallway, I'm like, okay, she's got to see this thing. She's got to see it. And then poof, it just dissipates. She opens up the screen door. She's like, hey, are you doing okay? And I'm just like, yep, I'm coming in now. So I jump out of the hot tub, put the lid back on it, fasten the straps, and I never say a word to my mom for, 10, 15 years. But one day I brought it up to her a couple years ago, and I told her about it. And she got kind of teary-eyed, and she's like, yeah, that was your Uncle Audie. And I described how he looked, and the haircut style was really ambiguous, kind of like you'd see like in the 1970s. It's kind of a short, round bob that boys would wear, but girls could wear it as well. So my mom had two younger siblings, Audie and Darla, and they were at El Dorado Lake here in Kansas one afternoon. And unfortunately, Darla fell overboard off the boat. And so Audie jumped in after Darla, and they both drowned at El Dorado Lake. And so my mom fully believes that, just based on the description that I gave her, that was her little brother Audie watching me in the hot tub because he knew I would fall asleep. That's kind of one of those little guardian angel kind of ghost scenarios where I was in the water and he would watch me from occasion, from time to time.
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
Right, right,
Did
right.
your mom have any sense of him as she walked by, or she just didn't?
No.
This for you.
She never saw anything. I asked her, if she ever remembers seeing any little boys, because our house growing up was notoriously haunted. It wasn't too uncommon for us to hear and see weird things. But no, she never had any real, inclination that he was there, unfortunately. But yeah, she fully believes that's what it was.
Oh, it's like one of your guides, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So if you have time, we'll share another one that's a little bit longer.
Oh, we
Yeah.
got tons of time. Did you get into your sleep paralysis? You're the only
Right,
one
right.
that's like, come on.
Oh no. Hey, you know what? And Preston wanted to jump on too, but he and Jeffrey are on their 1 year anniversary road trip in Texas right now. So unfortunately, he couldn't jump on, but he's got some more.
I wanted to ask you because, like, I listened to your 13 Nightmares podcast, another podcast that Sean does. Like, you guys couldn't download it off of the YouTube Live or the. You guys are doing it on like Kick and a bunch of places.
Yeah,
right?
so we still record via Discord, and we each record our audio, and I slap it together, and I cut out all the flubs and all the bad jokes and things that are overtly offensive. But you can watch live on YouTube, and Preston does all the video stuff. But for whatever reason, that last episode, halfway through the first story, like I just lost all connection. So as opposed to throwing down, a quarter of an episode, I'm going to tighten up the story a bit because on that one episode, I was reading like mental floss. And I mean, hats off to their creative writers, but like that's too much word salad for a podcast.
Yeah.
And there's only so many puns that I can really stand before I get really irritated. So we're just going to scrap it. I threw up an old episode of 13 Nightmares just to kind of tide folks over because I really hate not having content. But yeah, we'll get back to it next week.
Yeah, no, 300. Deborah, you got to write in a fucking ghost story.
Throw in one of ours. I do write stories based on our podcast, actually, little shorts. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we're going to record episode 299 next Friday. It'll drop on Saturday, and then the following Sunday, the Sunday right before Halloween, we're going to do a live stream on the YouTube around 5 p.m. That way we have a couple hours where we can get on there. People can watch earlier. And we're going to share listener stories and do some Ask Us Anything stuff. And that'll be our big 300. So that'll be pretty exciting stuff.
4 p.m. our time. I'm going to jump on.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
We
yeah,
won't be recording.
Cool. Definitely, man. But so the other story I've got here is a little longer, not terribly long. But my wife and I, we got married back in 2006. And we lived in this apartment. It's the first place we had together. Apartment 112 in El Dorado at the River Walk Apartments. And we lived there for 2 years and nothing eventful ever happened. Our third year living there, this couple moved in below us. Their names were Jessica and Garrett. My wife and I were probably about 22 or 23 at the time. Jessica and Garrett were like 19. They were going to the community college. And the odd thing was Jessica was Garrett's aunt. So somebody was a little surprise baby. But anyway, they partied all the time. Trying to impress football players and stuff at Butler. And one night, Shayla and I are going down our stairs. We were in the upstairs apartment, second floor, and our doors were perpendicular to each other. And we were walking down the stairs, open up the door. We're going to walk to the movie theater to see some movie. And their door flies open, and Jessica just runs us over, just screaming, "Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God." And we're like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay?" And we look in their apartment, and there's a bunch of candles all over the floor and empty beer cans and a Ouija board. And she's like, "Oh my God, this shit's real. Oh my God, you guys got to come in here." And as some of you guys know, that's one of my scruples. Like I will not mess with a Ouija board. And we're like, "Oh no, it's cool. We got movie tickets. We can't tonight." And we scuttle off. Shortly after that, my wife and I go karaoke with some friends, and we get home, and I'm all jacked up on Jaeger bombs. So, a mixture of alcohol and energy drinks. So my sleeping that night's real spotty. And I wake up at like 3 a.m, and I hear the closet door in the bedroom. It's one of those door handles that's like a latch that you got to like pull down and then pull open. And I hear this thing getting hit, and like you can hear something hit it, and it kind of jiggles up and down and stops. And I'm still, buzzed, and I'm just yelling at my cats because at the time we had 2 cats, and I'm like, "Just leave it alone, just go to bed." So finally I sit up, put my glasses on, and I'm just like, "Will you two just knock it off?" And through the moonlight, just like in a horror movie, they're both sitting at the foot of the bed watching this handle on its own just jiggle up and down. Finally, the handle slams down, and the door to the closet slowly opens up. And then the pull chain that has the light pulls down, and the closet light comes on, and I pass out of sheer terror and Jaeger bombs. And I wake up the next morning and my glasses are all disheveled on my face. I'm just like, oh man, I must have been way too drunk last night. And I sit up and both cats are still on the foot of the bed staring into the open door of the closet. After that, periodically, like I would work at the deli at the local Walmart. I had to be up at 5 a.m. So I'd get up, get a quick shower, closet doors shut, lights turned off. I get a shower, come back in the bedroom, closet doors open, lights on. My wife would call me sometimes in the mornings when she would get up to go to work, and I'd run to the back of the deli and I'd answer the phone. And there were times we'd be on the phone, and I could just hear that handle slam down and the door open, and she'd be like, "Yep, door just opened." And it became so normal. It's just one of those things. Like, okay, yeah, there's a ghost in the closet, whatever. So another thing that happened in this apartment was shortly after the closet door shit started happening. Down the hallway from our bedroom was the main bathroom and also another door that led to the spare room, which we used as an office. And so the bathroom door and the spare room doors are perpendicular to each other as well. I'm just getting out of the shower. I grab my towel. I bend down, dry my hair, and I stand up. And both cats just tear ass out of the spare room. And I have enough time to say, what the? And I see a man dressed in like 1930s, 1940s bowler hat, suit and tie garb take 2 steps out of the spare room. He stops right in front of this War of the Worlds poster. I can see right through him. He takes his bowler hat off, and then like smoke just fades away. And just, again, scared the piss out of me. One afternoon, my buddy Tony and I, stone cold sober, don't do any drugs, we're playing Xbox. And this is back when like your Xbox controllers had cords, kids. And we're playing Xbox, and both cats are asleep on the couch next to us. No cords are draped across the coffee table. And we have these 2 wrought iron tripod candle holders with big, thick lead glass cups that hold the candles. And these things were like 8 inches tall, at least a 1/4 inch thick glass. And we just happened to both glance over because you could see this candle holder slide across this table. And it slid for a good 6-7 inches. And as it's sliding, it's also rotating on the table. It gets to the very edge, the candle holder falls off, and the cup explodes like bomb shrapnel. This glass goes everywhere. And I mean, we checked, the cords are under the table, the cats aren't anywhere near it, the pizza box is a good like foot away from it. We have no idea what caused it, but whatever it was pushed it so hard it actually had 3 scratches in the actual tabletop. And just little weird stuff like that would go on from time to time. And then the last thing that really happened before we went down and asked management, like, what gives with this apartment, was another early morning. I'm getting ready for work. I'm walking down the stairs. And as I'm walking down these carpeted stairs, I just hear someone say, "Have a good day, Sean." And I was like, "Thanks, babe." And then I can also hear my wife asleep, snoring. And so then I kind of like stutter step and I say, "Wait, what?" And I hear, just like a horror movie, several disembodied voices, "Have a good day, Sean." And I tear ass down the stairs, shut the apartment door, and go to work, and didn't bother telling my wife till like that night. So whatever's in the apartment, God love me, I left it alone with my wife.
That sounds like my wife. Like when we got off the road and we were living at my wife's house, it sounds like that haunted.
Yeah,
like where a skeptic would believe.
And I love that stuff. Even back then, I believe in it full heartedly. But like in the moment, you kind of lose your badassery. And you kind of just Scooby-Doo yourself out of the situation.
And did you find out the backstory from the landlord? Was there a story? Or?
So one more little thing that happened first was my wife was in the spare room, and I had a drafting table and a computer desk. And she's sitting one day on the computer, and my drafting table had basically like a computer chair, but it was a lot higher. And both cats are asleep behind her on the carpet. And she said she caught like a movement out of the corner of her eye, and she turns her head and looks. And she said this computer draft chair slowly rotated from facing the table to facing her and then stopped.
Like so a after big draft table? Like one of the old white ones? Like
kind of, yeah. Like the work board was like 2 foot by like 3 foot. It's a big ass drawing table. So that happened to my wife. And then with all this stuff culminating, we finally go down. To answer your question, Deborah, we finally go down to the office and we talk to the property manager. And like, we're cool with her. She likes us. We're really friendly. And I was like, hey, can we shut the door and just kind of, have a minute of your time? And we just unload everything that's happened. And I preface it by saying, we don't drink heavily. We don't do any drugs. We're both pretty sober people for the most part, besides, party now and then. Bleh, here's everything that just happened. And the entire time she's just wide-eyed, just staring at us. And she's like, all right, well, I can drop the paperwork. We'll get you guys moved into a new apartment. And we said, no, like, we don't want to move. Nothing is malicious. It's just kind of unsettling once in a while. And she's like, well, no one's died in your apartment directly, but the building behind you, there was one suicide, and there was also an older tenant who had passed away as well. But nobody in the building that we knew of, that she knew of in the last 15 years had died. We can't figure out what it was. But also, every night, again, after the Ouija board bullshit, every night at like 10:30, you could smell really heavy, like cigar smoke. And there were times when no one lived beside us. The lady who lived catty corner from us downstairs didn't smoke, and Garrett and Jessica never smoked. We asked them; they don't smoke. None of their friends smoke, outside, any of that kind of stuff. But I mean, for the last year that we lived there, you could just smell cigar smoke for about half an hour, and it never stained in anything. It never lingered afterwards. Like, you would just smell it, and around 11 o'clock, it just went away. No proof of it, no nothing. It would come up through like the sink. You could smell it like just coming through the walls. It was just like someone was just, huffing right next to you on the other side of the wall. It was bizarre.
That's pretty good haunting, though. That's
yeah.
Activity.
And our cats would always like look at the closet that was in the living room, and they would just stare at it so intently to the point where you could say their names, and like instead of turning their head, like one ear would just turn and then slowly turn back.
That's cool.
And then
when
you'd
they
watch,
do that.
yeah, and then like they'd look up slowly at the ceiling, and then they'd always drift over and look at the corner of the room above the stairway, which was just so bizarre because I mean, like, whatever it was, clearly it's not standing because there was just steps below it. So super wicked, super wild.
And Sean's got a question for you. He says, have you ever tried using an SLS camera? I mean, Mike, not Sean. Mike.
An SLS camera. No, I haven't really used any gear. Preston, my co-host, has some stuff that we've used before, but never any cameras. Mostly like ghost boxes and stuff like that.
All right. I mean, cameras are becoming the new thing. I had a guy in a couple people on my show that have talked about like using them in investigations, and apparently it's the newest thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I do have an old Xbox Connect camera in my spare room. I might dig out one of these days.
Oh, paranormal activity. Shit.
Yeah, see if I can get a dancing stick man on camera. But no, we haven't used any cameras, stuff like that. But the funny epilogue to that apartment haunting is after about 3 years of living there, we finally got a rental house. And I remember we were so comfortable with this thing, whatever it was or whatever they were. Like, it never really truly scared us. It was more just kind of like, kind of off-putting some nights. I remember the day we moved out, going back in for one last look. And it was it was June 30th. And it was right around the time the sun's going down, so right around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I remember going in this apartment like a child, running up the stairs because we had the electricity shut off earlier that day. I run into the kitchen to grab like the last couple tools I had, and I remember turning around, just being just terrified to leave because you could just feel like it just felt like thousands of eyeballs just staring at me the entire time I'm walking back through the apartment. And I delivered pizzas part-time just for extra cash because, again, I worked mornings, my wife worked nights at the salon, and I would get a pizza delivery out there to the apartments every once in a while. And one night I get a delivery to apartment 112, and we've been gone for about a year and a half, and this college-age chick answers the door, and I'm like, hey, here's your pizza, blah, blah, blah. And I said, this is going to be super weird, and I promise I'm not like some kind of stalker, but have you ever had anything strange or paranormal or like a ghost in this apartment? And she just stares at me, blinks a few times, and she just goes, no. Boom, and slams the door in my face. So, I mean, she lived there for the duration of the time that we had moved out to that night, and she never had anything happen. So I don't know what it was, but it was super, super bizarre.
Well, definitely something there. That's some pretty decent activity.
Yeah. I thought about next time I'm in town popping over, but I mean, is it going to be kind of weird for just some 30-something bearded guy just to knock on your door and be like, hey, you guys got any ghosts?
Absolutely
I thought
not,
so.
dude. Do it.
Right. But yeah, Jessica and Garrett never had anything happen either in their apartment because I would ask them from time to time. But yeah, nothing happened until they started using that Ouija board.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Ouija boards. I gotta do
Yeah.
one with Michael for the one chip challenge. We're gonna be in Florida Everglades. And you weren't able. I got fucking sending yours. I just got paid, so
Nice, man. Hell yeah.
we're doing. What are we doing with that? Are we
I
doing
don't know.
like everybody on, like Preston on, and
If
Deborah and
we
Jeremy,
could,
or
that'd be a lot of
just
fun.
Us live.
I'm trying to
What are we
track
doing?
one down to get for Preston too. The problem is,
Deborah said she wouldn't do it anymore, and then
Aw.
fucking Jeremy never wanted to do it in the first place.
it's something else, man. My buddy Mitchell and I did that Hot Ones wing challenge back in January, and we bought the full kit, all 10 hot wing sauces. Are you guys familiar with that show? Have y'all watched Hot Ones?
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun, and I say fun in kind of a sadomasochistic way because once you get to Da Bomb, which I think is number 7 or 8, there's no reason that's not number 10. It hands down is the hottest bottle of sauce, and it's not even hot. It's like just like bottled hate, just hate and anguish, and it's brutal. And then the last 2, 9 and 10, aren't really that bad. And it is possible that your taste buds are just scorched earth by that time, and you don't notice it, but.
Have you ever done the one chip challenge?
Yeah, we did it back during COVID. We
Okay.
did it. My wife did not do it, but I did it, and my buddy Eric and my friend Patty, we all did it over Zoom. And so I'm gonna be a badass here and say that one we got to minute number 6, and by that point, like the heat had kind of pretty much worn down to the point where it was just annoying to stare at people on Zoom for 4 more minutes, not drinking anything. And like we had beers. So we made it to 7 minutes, and then we all agreed, okay, it's no longer hot. Let's go ahead and, just drink our beers and just hang out and have fun. But I'm curious to see what this next one is going to be because you guys know, supposedly a kid died, right?
He did die.
That's
did die.
why I
Now,
backed out. I'm like,
Yeah, that's why I have an extra chip. My wife won't let my son do it. We've done it every year. The first year, that shit lasted for like we were just gargling milk and spitting into a bucket. That shit lasted for like an hour. But last year's, it was kind of like you said. It lasted for about 20 minutes. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to sit here for 40 minutes. Here, I'm going to eat a bunch of jalapenos, and then I'm going to drink beer.
Yeah. Well, Deborah, if you don't want to do yours, we could shoot you some cash if you want to mail it to Preston if you don't want yours.
I didn't.
He doesn't have one. I was going to originally give them to these guys.
Yeah. I know a local vendor who works for the parent company of Packy. Do you guys know Hershey's bought Packy? They actually own that brand now.
That was probably a losing deal.
Talkie, yeah.
Yeah, they bought the Packy or Pocky or whatever. So
Talkie.
I'll check and see with him if he has any extra.
It's Pocky. Talkie and Pocky are different.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, Pocky's the one that does the one chip challenge. And like the day that kid died, I went to my 7-Eleven dude, and he was like, I can sell it to you. Let's not talk about it.
Out the back door. Maybe you bought beef jerky and then you got home and there was a hot chip in the bag. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I got
awesome.
one extra. I'm saving. We have 3, and I'm saving my one because my wife won't let my son do it. So I'm gonna let him sell that shit in like 20 years when it's like the chip that killed someone.
Right.
As bad as that sounds. But I have an extra I'm sending you.
It's also like, I'm trying to think of what it was. There was some other thing that killed people. And if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's what it was. No, the kid had an allergic reaction, apparently. And I say that in air quotes, with our tinfoil hats, we all kind of raise eyebrows at that. Apparently, he had an allergic reaction to some of the ingredients. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Because when we're in the midst of that hot wing challenge, like, it was rough. And it does kind of like just shut it. Yeah. it shuts your brain down, and like all you have is a lizard brain that's like just like banging pots and pans around, saying this is danger, this is not good. So I don't know. I mean, I could see you having it, your heart stopping. I don't know,
Dude,
We
when I was in
we have
junior
some
high,
Scott. Let's get to some comments first before we continue. People are asking a lot. We actually have had a lot of watchers this whole time, so thank you, watchers. But Nancy says that if someone asked her that, Sean, like you did when you were delivering pizza, she'd be like, "Oh my God, you know what?" So yeah, and Scott, that one's for you.
no, my wife won't let Trip nay. I get it. I understand. The only difference is when me and her were in junior high, we were like swallowing pills of quercetin to like fucking robo fry and shit. Now it's you can't do that.
Sounds like one of you grew up, Scott.
Yeah.
I get it.
And Michael says people die from grapes all the time.
See?
That's true. Yeah, you can't give grapes to dogs either because of the skin.
So,
can't.
so
That's
that
true.
means, Michael, you're eating a chip? You're talking big words there? That's
Michael,
No.
Michael is eating the chip with me. We're
He
gonna
is
get
going
him
to,
and we're
okay.
gonna do it with the fucking swamp. Goddamn, what? Skunk ape
Oh
and
man,
the Ouija board in the Everglades when I go visit my parents.
Now the thing of it is though, like the skunk ape is great, but what you want to do is you want to go a little deeper into the Everglades and look for the 2-egg stump jumper, which basically is the skunk ape but about 3 foot tall.
Oh,
There's a little town or a little county called 2-egg, and that's what they call it, the 2-egg stump jumper, and it's supposed to be another one of those, you know,
hobbits from Florencis or whatever.
Yeah, swamp monsters, stinky swamp monsters. But that's cool,
Well, that's
man.
just Florida. That's just Florida.
That's true. Yeah, that's very
Florida's the shit. That's why it's on my Christmas tree. Loved it.
true. I have Spider-Man on my Christmas tree.
Yeah, I don't know. I got Merle when he turned into a zombie and his hands cut off.
Oh, very cool.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
My
Right?
Christmas tree's badass, dude.
Scott's also going to have a big plaque on it this year that says birds aren't real.
They're not.
I used to raise cockatiels. I will beg to differ.
We're going duck hunting tomorrow, dude, and those robots taste delicious.
What do you do with that thing? You just like whack them?
No, this is the calls.
call him in.
Oh,
It's him. It's him sounding like a sexy girl duck.
right. Well, that's cool, man. You have a rope of duck calls. That's neat.
And Mike says Florida's the land of men with no shirts.
Ah.
And then with those
Fuck
shirts.
yeah, Florida man.
Well, that's also half of Canada, I'm pretty sure. But
That's true.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's cold up here. Everybody's got their shirts on.
Yeah, that's true.
there's still those crazy Canucks.
We had
You know
another ghost storyteller on here at one point.
He just, I don't know. He looked like he dropped his phone, then he went bye.
Yeah,
It looked like there was some glitching or something that was going on. Yeah.
I think the StreamYard shit, like, normally you get everybody on here, don't you?
That's wild, man.
I have 7 people on here at a time most of the time, so I don't know what the hell.
Yeah. Now, can you use this website and stream to like YouTube and everything else?
Yep, every
Okay.
pretty much almost every social media thing. I mean, the list is pretty long of places you connect to, and you can connect to other places. It's just not as simple. You have to go more technical with it and actually like hook it up.
The
manually.
fourth dude's not coming on either. Like, he can't. Like, is it your internet or is it the fucking StreamYard shit?
Well, apologies to all the people who are trying to get on and couldn't.
Right.
I mean,
right.
If they tell them to try using their phones.
Yeah.
Well,
If
what
people
did you do, Sean? You got to use
So-
your phone and your Xbox headset.
They can just use their phone and their phone's audio. It works fine.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I'm so used to wearing a headset now. I had the dongle I could plug into the bottom of my phone. But yeah, I went to Safari, which is just the stock browser, and it said it's not supported
yeah.
for streaming.
Safari does not work with StreamYard. You have to use
Right.
They recommend Chrome or Edge.
So Chrome is like pouring bleach into your eyes on a Mac in most cases. It also recommends Firefox.
Yeah.
Last time I put Chrome on my computer, it almost crashed the entire thing. Because again, Google doesn't play nice with Apple. But
Yeah.
I went to Firefox and loaded it up, and I could get into your guys' chat, but it wouldn't recognize the Yeti mic or my built-in computer camera or even the built-in computer audio either. I couldn't just use like the internal mic either. It wouldn't register anything. I went through permissions, settings, everything, and I all but resetting my computer, which would take like a lot longer than I wanted to do. But
Yeah, well, with Safari, it doesn't work with it. It won't. That's the problem with Safari is the devices won't connect. But I mean, with Chrome on a regular Windows computer, it works perfectly fine. That's why I've been using. That's why I've been using for a year and a half on StreamYard. So
Yeah, you
Right.
get a lot of people on all your shit. I don't know.
because they, but a lot of them just use their
Weird.
phones.
We
A
have
lot
like
of them.
3 fucking
lot-
people that couldn't get on. Like one who had trouble.
they couldn't all
I
be
mean-
Mac users either. That'd be unique, I think.
I mean,
They
it's-
were
it's-
giant pumpkin growers, so
Huh.
maybe
Who
that's the
knows?
thing.
Well, we had
Yeah.
2 manage to get on and then, lost them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
That just means you got to do another one of these. That's all.
We will do, yeah.
Yep.
So that's
Well, before you get off, like one of the scariest things I've ever happened to me was I was actually in this chair. The desk was different, but I had sleep paralysis where I like fell asleep in this chair. And I was back in Florida in my backyard on my fold up chair, and I couldn't move for like 20 fucking seconds.
Whoa, that's weird.
And I was trying to call my wife, like I couldn't move. I was trying to or not 20 seconds, like 20 minutes. It felt like I was trying to roll my shit out and do all this shit. I was just stuck. But you have had some pretty crazy sleep paralysis. I never saw the demon, but you've had some pretty crazy sleep paralysis shit, right?
Yeah, man. So like again, I feel like I'm just talking to everybody that already knows all this stuff. But yeah, for listeners and viewers, yeah. So at the second rental house we had in El Dorado, so two domiciles after the haunted apartment, my wife had to go out of town for a work trip because she used to be a they call them educators, but think of it as like a rep for a hair care product company as well as a teacher. And she took this trip. She's going to be gone for a couple of days. And, we said our goodbyes, whatever, and she left. And in our bedroom, you had a door that would either go into the kitchen. Hold on, a big truck or something's going by. There was a door that went to the kitchen or a door that went to the bathroom. And we slept with both those doors shut because the cat we had at the time would be notoriously just nocturnal and just destroy everything at night in the bedroom. So Shayla goes to work. She leaves. She's gone. And then all of a sudden I hear the front door open and shut. And I'm like, oh, she must have forgot something. And I don't hear any footsteps. And this is kind of muffled. And then next thing you know, I hear the door open to the bedroom and then shut. And then I just hear footsteps in the carpet walking around slowly. And I'm laying on my left side, staring at the wall by my nightstand. And I slept with a sword I got at a flea market by the side of the bed for years.
Call.
Yeah,
call.
right. I mean, something's better than nothing. And this shadow entity demon kind of looked like it was half made out of like TV static, walks over into my view. Because at this point, mind you, when the bedroom door opened and shut, I'm now frozen, stuck in this like paralysis state, just staring at the wall. And this thing walks over and it's like a full body apparition, and it looks at me kind of quizzically, and then it looks back over, and then it notices the sword, and it picks up the sword, and it looks at the sword, and it looks over at me, and it looks at the sword, and the sword looked like just some like little like walking stick, and then you could pull the stick off, and it was hiding a sword. And it pulls the sword like halfway out of the sheath and kind of looks at it and then slides it back. And I can hear all the noises of the wood and the metal clinking around. And it lays it down on the carpet back where it was by the bed. And then it walks out of my periphery, down to the foot of the bed, and then back up behind me. And then I feel the weight of a body, a person, crawling across the bed. And it lays down behind me, and I can feel the body, the pressure of the body leaning against mine. And it puts its arm around me and kind of spoons me, and then I just pass out. I just either fall back asleep or just pass out of sheer terror.
I love how you
And
fall asleep at these moments.
yeah, isn't that the way it goes? And then another time, oddly enough, coincidentally connected to my wife going out of town for when she used to be this educator for this hair care company. I went with her once to Omaha because she's going to be gone for a weekend, and I had the weekend off. And she was going to be tied up from like 7 in the morning until like 5 at night. And so I meandered around Omaha. I end up going back to the hotel room, and I'm like, I'll just take a nap. I'm just going to go to sleep from like 2 to 5. Then I'll get up, get a shower, and then go meet her at the at the casino. And I'm laying there trying real hard to take a nap, and I just kind of happened to glance over at the door of the hotel room, and in the door frame is it's the Hat Man. For those of us who know what the Hat Man is, this kind of guy just wearing kind of a long, not a really a bowler's hat, just kind of a scraggly, flat-billed cowboy hat. And again, it looks like it's made out of TV static. It's just kind of like just weird, kind of coming in and out of focus. But it also sounded like just hundreds of bees and flies were swarming around this thing. And I'm just staring at it. And again, I've gone completely frozen. I'm just paralyzed, laying on my side, staring at this doorway. And then it kind of like takes notice of me and just kind of stares at me, and the head kind of turns to the side and then it straightens back up. And then it was almost like it didn't walk necessarily towards me in steps, but it kind of like would be there for a second, kind of glitch out, and then be a little closer. And then it would take a few steps and then glitch out and then all of a sudden reappear closer. And same deal, right as it got up next to me, I could just hear the buzzing sound. And as it's getting closer, it's louder and louder and louder until it's so loud it's like in your head. And I just remember thinking, like, I can't take this anymore. This is just what's going on. And next thing you know, like, I wake up and I don't know if it was all a dream. It sure as hell felt real. Like I was awake. Everything in the room was as it was when I was awake. So I don't know. Either I just took like a nice little snapshot of the room before I fell asleep, or this thing was really in the room. I don't know. But it was super fucking bizarre.
Wait a minute. Why would I say succubus? I'm waiting for you to
Oh,
explain
come
that
on,
one
dude.
there.
Because you would have been like, succubus, hell yeah.
Right?
That's Jeremy, like fucking night terror
I mean,
porn.
Yep.
no, Scott, no. And she also says, "Oh, like a house on Haunted Hill."
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of
And
wish I would have
Mike asked
like,
if it could be an alien.
I kind of wish I could like fucking experience that, but only one time ever, and that's it.
Yeah. The
'Cause
fun
I
thing
had
is, like,
kind of a close to it, but I didn't see demons.
I think the problem is when it happens once and you acknowledge it, it just kind of opens the floodgate. The old adage of like, when you look into the abyss looks back at you. I think that's my full belief is like when you become sensitive to this weird stuff, it like it's an antenna and it's a frequency you pick up, and then you're also looking at something, and something else can then also see you from the other side. And it's bizarre, and you learn to live with it. I mean, you still got to pay bills, you still got to go to work, you still got to maintain relationships, and it's just one of those weird little things that you choose who you do and who you don't talk to about it.
As long
Which
as
is
I
why
could
we all-
kick that fucker's ass, I'd be fine with it, right?
Well,
Like,
in the course of 38
fucking
years,
hat, man.
yeah, in the 25 years that I've been, aware of it happening, I've never got to swing in, I've never got to punch it, I've never been able to even move. But like even as a kid in my mom and dad's house that I grew up in, there were times I would wake up in the middle of the night or early morning, and I could see like one thing that happened fairly frequently is I'd wake up on my back and I'd kind of move around, readjust, pull the blankets up, and then all of a sudden, boom, frozen. And then I remember once, like these 6 like spherical faces without really any defining features appeared, 3 on each side, and they're just like mumbling like a room full of people, but they're like sounds like they're talking through like pillows or something. It's all muffled and shit, and like they're just talking back and forth, and you can see the heads kind of looking at each other, like they're all like arguing and talking and having a conversation. And finally, they all stop and they all look down at me at the same time, and then fall asleep. And I would wake up to these things in the room. I would wake up, then get frozen and see these things in the room. And I mean, again, it could all just be a weird, fugue state where you're half asleep, half awake, whatever. But
Max
I
headroom.
mean,
Fuck yeah.
don't I wish, man? Don't I wish?
See, this is where I'm kind of conflicted with this shit. Is like I've had like DXM is the craziest thing where you're time traveling through like consciousness, right? Like you did something that hasn't happened yet, and you come back and yada yada yada. Haven't really
Yeah.
had that with like mushrooms or anything else. But then like when you black out off a straight liquor and you just like, you know, you remember looking at the bottle and then you
Yep.
wake up somewhere fucking a day later, totally different town.
Mm.
All right, never
No
had that
idea
happen.
what happened. Like
Time travel.
Never,
Yeah.
never had that happen.
time
That's
travel. Yeah, and like where was my consciousness then?
Yeah. Was I playing a knife game with a biker somewhere in Nova
No,
Scotia?
yeah, I
don't
definitely
know.
was.
Just. Oh, Scott's Carney folk. He's good at knife games.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, no, like that shit happens, and then it's just it like, you know. But then you do the. I didn't see the demon, but like the sleep paralysis shit. It's like,
Mhm.
what is that? The time travel shit with the DXM. That's like that's the trippiest shit because like I saw forward in the future and
Mhm.
then was in the present and then like backwards, forward.
Yeah.
That shit fucks with your brain.
I to do a little relative to the conversation, shameless plug here for our 300th episode. One of the stories we have is a woman who tried DMT for the first time to begin getting over trauma that she has had since like childhood and some recent stuff that's happened. So that'll kind of piggyback on like what you were saying there. And I won't share any more of the story because I also have to make sure I can share it on the show. She sent it in, and there was kind of she kind of led me to believe we can share it, but I'm just going to make sure. But another bonkers story, like we've got stories that came in, and some of these are just the most bizarre things we've had to date. I also got a story that a guy sent in of a secondhand story that was told to him of a man who resurrected his mom's dead horse.
What?
And the story is interesting because the guy who writes it in is like, hey, the job I have, I deal with patients and I deal with confidentiality. So the name in the story is changed. It is not the person's. He says client. So I don't know if it's a client or a patient or what. The client's name has been changed. So there's no HIPAA. There's no information I cannot share with you. But it is the story this guy relayed to the person who wrote the story in of a time he resurrected a dead horse. And it's like I was telling somebody who doesn't buy into any of this shit. I said, our job on the show is not to believe it. It is just our job to read it. So
Yeah, I mean,
do with it what you will.
We've all seen Pet Cemetery. Y'all don't want to go over there now.
Depressing.
Yeah,
Ain't
yeah,
nothing.
no shit.
Ain't nothing up there but bad things.
Yeah, this guy who wrote it in went as far as to make up a fake email to, I mean, you can trace IPs, whatever. I don't give a lick about that. But he's like, I made up a burner email to send this in. My name is not attached to this email. My name is being withheld, and so is the client's name. But it's just the most bizarre shit. That way, now you guys all have to listen to that episode.
Oh, I definitely will.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Every week. It pisses me off when you guys skip a week.
dude,
What the hell?
October has been so bonkers crazy with the job that Preston and I both have. For whatever reason, like the end of September and all this month has just been new projects we got to work on, traveling, people coming into town to do like inspections and tours, and it's just thrown off our chi to the point where like we're gonna have to bring some pretty heavy hitting stuff all next month because we've relied on a lot of episodes just to be like, well, we don't have time to share a whole story. Let's just do some weird news shit. So yeah, we got a lot of stories we're sitting on to share to make it up to everybody. But yeah, October was supposed to be spooky month, and it's kind of been a little bunk for the most part. So we should be able to get back on. Starting the week of Halloween, we should be back on. So
That's kind of how it's been for me. It's just been busy.
Yep, it's out of our hands, and like I said, we had a pretty good story for episode 299. And things just got kind of wonky and a lot of weird like Bluetooth interference on Preston's side, and then I think my computer tried to update the Adobe suite that I use for design and illustration in the middle of recording for some weird reason. Like it just took it upon itself to switch everything to the 2024 versions of all the programs I use, and it just kicked me
Yeah.
off. Yeah, kicked me off
That
of
sucks.
GarageBand, kicked me off of Discord. And, what can you do, man?
That
What can you
shit
do?
happens. You guys
Yep.
should start
Yeah.
going 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Lazarus would like it at least.
Yeah, right. Well, folks, I need to honestly get off of here, hang out with my wife a little bit before she has to turn in for the night. But I appreciate y'all having me on, man. We need to do this more often, for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming and like filling the places for like 4 other people. The other guy's
you know
yelling
what?
at me right now because he can't get on.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. That's why we try to support each other. That's a nice thing too, man. About podcasting is I fully believe there's more good people out there than bad, and I think there's room at the table for everyone. And it's always cool to get on and hang out and talk to other shows and dip into your guys' world for a little while. So,
Well, much
Always-
appreciated and awesome stories as always.
most def, guys.
Always-
If you guys have anything weird or bizarre to send in, shoot us an email or get it to Scott and send it in. We'll be happy to share it over the next episode.
Hey, the last question. Where can I get some beard oil?
BigDobsBeardBalm.com. He
Okay, we
makes it
need a
out of
story with this
Omaha.
shit though. Like,
So that's our big promoter that's our main promoter for our show is Big Dobbs. Again, our show's Pixelated Paranormal. A lot of our connections come from video games, and Dobbs and I used to be Xbox buddies years ago and lost touch and reconnected. And Dobbs makes all his own beard oil and beard balm and tattoo balm out of his house. That's his bread and butter, man. That's his business he runs. And he loves spooky shit. He and I have gone on a couple investigations. We've actually got some stuff from Melbourne Manor up in Iowa that we got to finish combing through and share. But we spent the night in Melbourne. But yeah, if you check out his website, BigDobsBeardBalm.com, you can use promo code PXLPARA and get 20% off that stuff.
I'm sorry, I just bought other beard balm off of Amazon, but next time
shame.
I swear to Jesus.
All good. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll holler at y'all later.
Okay,
Have a good night, dude.
have a good
Yeah,
one. Thanks.
See you all.
Have a good one, brother.
Yep. Later, guys.
And yes, Scott needs a solid plug because his beard's falling out.
I shaved the sides.
Ooh,
I'm
special.
gonna do one of those like pirate curly beard, like Captain Hook with a devil's beard
Well-
thing.
Unless you got anything else, Scott, I think that wraps up this week.
Well, let's end it because we got to talk about this bracket. I have no idea what's going on with
Well,
that.
thanks to our viewers. Apologies to our guests that didn't make it on. We'll definitely hook you up. We'll do another episode like this and have you back.
I don't think Jeff
Yes.
is going to want to come back. He said some pretty mean words to me.
We're sorry. We are sorry.
Sorry, Jeff.
It's not our night.
Sorry.
Don't know who he is, but okay. Have a good night, everybody.